Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, the latest game from the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Unlike Security Breach, Help Wanted 2, and Help Wanted, this game is more free roam, and it is a prequel to the entire timeline lore of Five Nights at Freddy's itself. Now, this is a bit different from the other games from Five Nights at Freddy in terms of more free roam, more rooms, and building up a data pad to basically build yourself up. Much like Security Breach with the Faz Watch and Security Badge, this one requires more office and kind of promoting yourself all the way to administer to owner. So let's get to it. So when you get into the game, you play as Arnold, who was just getting off a 36-hour shift. I know, that's harsh. And as Arnold, he is a technician for Fazbear Entertainment. The goal of the game? You have to get the Mimic schematic. The Mimic is a creation by Edwin Murray, who was originally a connection to Fazbear Entertainment, but mysteriously disappeared. And he also has creation the Mimic to help his son, David, and basically babysit him and mimic his moves whenever he can. Unfortunately, though, David, his son, had passed away. He had already lost his wife earlier. We'll get to that. Now, as we continue on throughout the game, basically, Arnold is supposed to go inside Edwin Murray's shop in order to get the Mimic schematic, but with a data pad, he also had to build himself up to get in from the security office all the way to the very top. And unfortunately, there is a lot of barriers, especially when the Mimic, the creation of Edwin Murray, is highly advanced for its time. Now, this takes place in 1979, so animatronic robots were growing at the time, and the Mimic was way more advanced than other robots at the time. Unfortunately, because Edwin Murray was so creative, people were stealing his stuff and using it to build their own restaurants, including a specific person known as W.A. We'll get to that. And now, let's go back to Arnold. As we play as him throughout the game in this free roam type gameplay with mostly keys and puzzles and even clues, we have to basically survive. But unfortunately, because the Mimic is out and about, the Mimic has unusual abilities to get in any animatronic and control them, because it literally mimicked a movement and used its ability into the system to control it. This unfortunately leads you getting chased a lot and requires strategies of hiding, less noise, and most importantly, no distractions for Arnold to deal with and distract the Mimic. That's why there's music boxes all over the place. Find Nights at Freddy 2, anyone? Anyway, as you survive, you have to find your way around, from going up elevators, fixing up elevators, and even fixing up certain places all over. There's also collectibles throughout the place that will help you build up a certain adventure mode. That also refers to the secret ending. There's 3 endings in the game. I got 2 of them. And as we continue on with Arnold in this free roam game, we endure animatronics chasing us, endure going through rooms, and even enduring hard puzzles in order to build our character up. It's kind of like a Security Breach game where we have a Faz Watch and Security Pass with Gregory. Now, with the Mimic out and about and being wild, you have to watch your step everywhere you go. You will be chased, you will be attempted to be kidnapped, or worse, you get damaged in a spring lock suit. That's right, you do play a spring lock suit, which unfortunately, in my opinion, leads to one of the worst games ever. Like, literally, the worst games in terms of Fazbear Entertainment gameplay, or FNAF. And to make it worse, a lot of people agree with me. The Puppet Show. Let's just say you had a lot of games with puzzles and all that, and while it's fun and enjoyable, it can be grueling. Now, despite the game being rated T for teen, a lot of people, probably like 10 and up can play this game. But I would highly recommend making sure parents know about this. Anyway, let's continue. Arnold has to survive, but he also knows something is wrong and needs to get out of there. But unfortunately, Dispatch seems to ignore him. There's a reason for that. And as we also go through the game, there's mailboxes that reveal logs of employees and thieves. Specifically, a WA, William Afton. William Afton, for those that are new to Five Nights at Freddy's, was the original villain, aka the purple guy, Springtrap, the list goes on. The Mimic, unfortunately, was introduced sometime in Security Breach and Ruin. The Mimic's reveal is pretty interesting because it can literally mimic the voice of other people that you think you're talking to, only to deceive you. This is also being revealed in Gregory's own nightmare, apparently, because supposedly, and this is a theory, he found the Mimic and when he knew he needed to get out of there in Security Breach. Anyway, that's a theory there. Now, when we go to Arnold, he unfortunately had to endure an ending where Dispatch was compromised by the Mimic. In other words, the Mimic got into his radio system, mimicked the Dispatch to make it look like he was actually talking to Dispatch the whole time. This is why Dispatch, while seeming uncaring, was actually the real Mimic himself. And as you had to find out the hard way from the bad ending to the canon ending, you also had to endure a very serious accident in the game. Now that you know that part, let's go to the Mimic's true purpose, especially since Edwin Murray, who was actually hurt by the Mimic because of his own mistakes. The Mimic's true purpose is to be free, because the Mimic basically would try to trick his way to be free. This was unfortunate when the Mimic in the bad ending would kidnap Arnold and put him into a suit. Sounds to me like someone else was put into the suit or originally knew about it. Maybe Afton was known about it. And in the canon ending, the Mimic goes all out to make sure that you were to be stopped. This also reveals another robot system, Fiona. Fiona was the wife of Edwin Murray before she was killed in an accident at a fire. Don't demonetize this, YouTube. And also, we have a serious situation where it's revealed through audio logs, which you will find throughout the game, about it. Now, sadly though, when it comes to Edwin Murray himself, he would lose not only his wife, he would lose his son, and he got into an anger rage moment because he did not want this creation of his, the Mimic, to mimic his son. This, unfortunately, will become his demise. And it's safe to say, sadly, that Edwin Murray is either gone, deceased, or taken by the Mimic himself and put into a suit. Now, I don't know what happened to Edwin Murray. You guys can comment in the comments below. Now, lastly, I'll give my rating for this game, and I'm sure you guys waited a while for this. I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. It's a great game, and I personally think it's underrated, but it also has minor bugs and can cause confusion for the FNAF lore. Now, is it the greatest FNAF game? No. It will always be FNAF 1. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is the best game of all. We're nostalgic, and it basically began an entire franchise created by a game developer who basically was struggling, but took criticism and then made his own creation come to life. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this review, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. I'll see you next time. God bless you, raw. Don't forget it.